Is the first time you got finessed by a rapper?
Finesse? I mean, nigga stole. Shit ain't really finesse. But, I mean, I guess so, yeah.
I heard that the Hard Rock gave him a jet just to like some holiday. Just take the jet and go to Atlanta and go see a family. Yo, if the casino's giving you a jet to go see a family, bruv, yo, there's no casino known to man that's giving you a jet to leave them.
The craziest thing about this whole Offset and Lil Tjay situation is the fact that they were all friends at one point. In fact, they were doing songs together 5 years ago. But everything started going downhill when Lil Tjay went unalive and exposed the fact that Offset owes him $10,000.
The situation around Lil Tjay is getting real tense right now, and people are already talking like this could turn into something serious if federal attention actually locks in. The way everything is unfolding, it's not just rumors floating around anymore. It's the speed of how information is spreading that's making people raise eyebrows. Some are even saying that if things go left, it might not just be about what happened, but also about what was said after. And here's where it starts getting messy.
He's still going, he's still mad.
When Offset had that situation outside the casino, word hit fast, like unbelievably fast. We're talking minutes, not hours. It wasn't some slow news cycle or delayed report. It was instant chatter, phone calls blowing up, people passing info around like wildfire. That alone had people questioning how everything got out so quickly and who was really connected to what.
10 racks. And my boy Offset didn't like that shit one bit. So what did Offset say? Offset was like, yo, nigga, you want that 10 racks? You gotta come get that shit back in blood. And this nigga Lil Tjay did just that. Because these two met at a casino. And next thing you know, some arguments started going off. Then next thing you know, shots started popping off. And who got shot? Offset. Right in the butt. But shit got squashed quickly. Because Lil Tjay went to jail. Offset went to the hospital. Lil Tjay got released not too long after calling Offset a rat because he talked in some shit. But just to see, all this shit happened over $10,000. These guys are millionaires, by the way. But the internet can make you do stupid shit. Look at these two. Now you got Offset sitting in a wheelchair, smoking blunt, or you got Lil Tjay walking around laughing at that nigga. It's not gonna end here.
Now from what's being talked about, the situation reportedly involved a run-in with people tied to Lil Jay's circle. And again, nothing here is locked in as official facts, but the timeline? That's what people keep pointing at. The moment something went down, the streets were already reacting. It wasn't polished, it wasn't controlled. It was raw, real-time reaction spreading everywhere. Then comes the legal side of things, and this is where it shifts. Lil Tjay's lawyer, Dawn, stepped in and made it very clear, at least from her perspective, that he wasn't tied to anything serious at that moment. According to her statement, the situation was being blown out of proportion, and what actually happened was way smaller than people were making it seem. She pointed toward minor issues like a traffic situation and disorderly conduct, basically pushing back hard against the narrative that he was involved in something bigger. And if you look at it from a legal angle, that move makes sense. At that stage, everything is wide open. There's no confirmed direction, no locked story, just pieces floating around. So the defense has room to move however they want. They can question where he was, what he knew, or even whether anything being linked to him is actually connected at all. That early moment, it's like a blank canvas. But here's the part people keep circling back to.
Over a period of time, like, feel me, damn near every month, and then eventually it's like, yo, broski, you trying to get smacked, and nigga, get it back in blood. It's like, nigga. That's weird.
Is the first time you got finessed by a rapper?
Finesse? I mean, nigga stole. Shit ain't really finesse. But, I mean, I guess so, yeah.
Damn. No, are you ever?
And that's little shit. You know, I don't even really be fucking with niggas, you feel me? I'll be in my own lane, King.
Was he mad that you just mentioned it publicly? Because maybe he just think that, you know, you like
timing. Because while all this is being sorted out publicly, information is also moving behind the scenes. And when things move that fast, it creates pressure, not just from the public, but potentially from authorities trying to piece everything together. There's also talk about footage. Again, nothing confirmed, but people are saying there may have been recordings from the scene. And if something like that exists, it instantly changes how everything is looked at. Because now it's not just about who was there, it's about what was captured, what was shared, and how quickly it moved. At the end of the day, this situation isn't just about one moment, it's about everything happening around it. The fast reactions, the statements, the shifting narratives. And right now, it still feels like pieces are being moved around without a full picture locked in. There were honestly a lot of different ways this situation could have been handled to protect Lil Tjay, and at first, it looked like there was room to move smart. Different legal angles, different narratives, different ways to slow everything down. But then everything shifted, and not in a good way. Because right after getting out, instead of staying quiet, he started talking. And that changed the whole game. And this is where people started looking at things sideways. Because when someone in that position starts speaking too freely, it doesn't just stay as just talking. It starts closing doors. Every statement, every little detail, it chips away at possible defenses.
What was behind that?
I don't know, broski. He's just on some weird shit.
Did he give you your money back?
I don't know. Nigga, he told me to get that shit back in blood. Like, that shit was
Oh,
cute.
oh shit.
I look at it like, bro, you mad old gang compared to me, bro. Like, I wish I would. Like, that's like I'm gambling right now, and I fake like I ain't want to use no names, you feel me? But that's like, you feel me? Me gambling right now, and somebody I think is like a little nigga, like, you feel me? Not say I'm a little nigga, but I'm way younger than him, you feel me? Like, and I'm like, yo, nah, I'm not gonna even do that. It's not my character trait. But they be like, nah, here, put the next bet. After I quit, I tap out. You feel me? On some, like, not even. That's not like that. It's like if I asked. And then when it's time to pay back, they don't even hit me back. They hit me back probably like a couple weeks later, like, yo, what's up with that, broski? And then, you feel me? And then tap in.
What could have been explained differently later suddenly gets locked in early, and that's exactly what people are reacting to. There's even a moment people keep pointing out where someone sitting right next to him is basically trying to shut it down. Like, don't say too much, don't go there. That kind of reaction tells you everything. Because when people close to you are trying to stop you from speaking, it usually means they already see where it's heading. Now here's where it gets even more serious. Based on how he was speaking, some listeners took it as him describing situations that raise heavy questions. Again, nothing confirmed here, but the way it sounded to people, it didn't help his case at all. Because if you're saying someone didn't even touch you, didn't come at you, didn't start anything, then people naturally start asking, why did things escalate the way they did? That's the part that keeps coming up. If there was no direct threat, no clear aggression, then what pushed things to that level outside that casino involving Offset? That's the kind of question that doesn't just go away. And once it's out there, it sticks. Then things get even more complicated when past situations start getting brought back into the conversation. People online and even commentary voices have been revisiting earlier incidents tied to him. Not as confirmed facts, but as talking points. And when that happens, it builds a bigger picture in people's minds, whether it's accurate or not. Even commentary figures like DJ Academics have discussed timelines and breakdowns that add more layers to the situation. Again, that's commentary, not official confirmation, but it still influences how people view everything. And once those narratives start spreading, they're hard to pull back. What really stands out, though, is why he may have felt comfortable speaking like that in the first place.
When I asked him, I said, so what happened when you tried to get your money back from Offset? He bluntly told me, he said Offset told him. He said Offset DM'd him and said, nigga, get it back in blood. That ain't me. That's literally what he said. I swear. That ain't me. That's what he said. And I was like, oh. So supposedly he lends this nigga 10 bands. And I ain't gonna lie, in the interview, it's not like TJ, bro. But you was like, yo, man, I'm about to, man, if I lend you money, nigga, I need my shit back. I'm not trying to give you money or whatever. Supposedly Offset told him in DMs, because I said, well, why you ain't just holler at him for the money? He said, yeah, I did. So I said, what'd he say? He told me to get it back in blood.
At that moment, the charges being talked about publicly were minor. Things like disorderly conduct and traffic-related issues. So from that perspective, it might have seemed like the situation wasn't that serious. But here's where people are raising concerns. Just because something starts small doesn't mean it stays that way. Situations like this can develop over time, especially when more details come together. Investigations don't always move fast. They build slowly, piece by piece. And that's why there's so much attention on this right now. Because while things may have looked light at first, there's growing talk that bigger developments could follow if more information connects. Nothing is confirmed yet, but the shift in tone is very real. At this point, it's less about one moment and more about how everything is stacking up. What was said, how it was said, and how it lines up with everything else being discussed. And right now, people are watching closely to see what comes next. Now things just took a major turn because this situation is no longer being handled at a small level anymore. According to reports, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, has officially stepped in and taken control of the case. That alone changes everything. When federal authorities get involved, it usually means they're looking at the bigger picture, not just one moment. And once they stepped in, they didn't stay quiet either. They reportedly released details along with images, laying out what they believe happened leading up to the situation involving Offset outside the casino. Now again, this is all based on what's being reported and what authorities are saying, not final conclusions. But the tone, it's serious. From what's being discussed, Lil Tjay is being mentioned in connection to the situation, not as a confirmed outcome, but as part of what's being looked at. And when your name starts showing up in a federal investigation like that, people immediately start paying attention. Reports say that images were released showing individuals believed to be tied to the incident, along with vehicles that may have been used. 2 SUVs were highlighted in particular, a gray Chevrolet Tahoe and a black Chevrolet Suburban. Those details might sound small, but they matter. Because once vehicles get identified, it gives investigators more to work with. Then there are the photos themselves. According to what's being circulated, they show different individuals moving around talking and interacting near those vehicles.
Apparently, Offset was outside the casino, just kind of minding his business, and Lil Tjay and them, I guess, saw him, and Lil Tjay literally like seeing on camera, apparently, pointing into his direction, like, yo, go over there, like, let's go start some shit. And his friends run down. In the midst of that, Offset Falcon punched some nigga, knocked somebody out. Because if you see the footage of the actual arrests going on, people think Lil Tjay got shot at first because Lil Tjay's on the ground getting arrested, and Offset's standing up, and it's like Offset's the one who got shot, but he's on his feet. Lil Tjay's man is on the ground who got knocked out, and Lil Tjay's on the ground because he's getting arrested. So it's kind of crazy. The one that got shot is on his feet, the one that got punched on is on the ground, and in the midst of all that, you get the crazy news reports, and it's like, yo, who got shot? We just know there was gunplay between Lil Tjay and Offset going down, and we didn't know what happened. Offset did say, when I see you, I'm gonna smack the shit out you. You feel me? So you gotta respect that.
Lil Tjay got knocked out.
They're trying to figure out who exactly was the shooter because Lil Tjay went to jail but was not charged with shooting nobody.
After Lil Tjay got bailed out, I saw on TMZ that he was talking about Offset's a snitch. Offset was pointing.
Oh yeah, he said last thing I see was Offset talking about don't take a shot.
Yeah, but his charges were not carrying a firearm, shooting a firearm.
Exactly,
so
and
that's not really added up.
Because if I get shot.
One person is reportedly seen on the phone, another walking nearby, and others appearing to be coordinating in some way. Again, this is all based on reported descriptions, but it paints a picture that investigators are clearly trying to piece together. And here's where it gets even heavier. When a case shifts from local handling to federal oversight, it's not just about one event anymore. It becomes about connections, patterns, and everything surrounding that moment. That's why people are saying this isn't slowing down, it's actually picking up. Media coverage has also been adding fuel to the conversation. Outlets like TMZ have been reporting on the developments, including the release of those images and statements. And once major platforms start pushing those updates, it spreads even faster. According to what authorities are saying, the situation reportedly started as a large group confrontation involving multiple people, including Lil Tjay. Again, that's based on reports, not a final judgment, but it explains why so many individuals are being looked at. From there, things escalated quickly. Reports suggest that during the altercation, someone pulled out a weapon and Offset ended up seriously hurt. After that, there are claims that the group attempted to take items from him, though that part is still being discussed and not fully confirmed. What stands out the most right now is how detailed the investigation is becoming. The photos, the vehicles, the timeline, it's all being laid out piece by piece. And when that kind of structure starts forming, it usually means authorities are building something bigger behind the scenes. At this point, this is no longer just about speculation or fast-moving rumors. It's turning into a full-scale investigation with multiple layers. And with federal authorities involved, every new detail carries a lot more weight. People are watching closely now because whatever comes next could shift everything again. Now here's where the situation gets even more intense, because the details being discussed from the Federal Bureau of Investigation report are raising serious questions. According to what's being shared, after everything went down, the individuals involved reportedly jumped back into the SUVs and left the scene quickly. Meanwhile, Offset was taken to a nearby hospital where he received treatment and was later released. But the part that really has people talking is what investigators believe happened right before everything escalated. Reports claim that after reviewing security footage, authorities think Lil Tjay may have played a key role in how the situation started. Again, this is based on what's being reported, not a final outcome, but it's still getting a lot of attention. According to those details, it's being suggested that he stepped out of a vehicle and pointed out Offset to others in the group. From there, the group allegedly moved toward him, and that's when the confrontation began.
Why this Offset? Offset broke. Nigga, fuck. Oh yeah, I'm gonna tell y'all the stream too. That nigga broke. That nigga pop. I'll tell y'all a true story. Nigga, I ain't got nothing to do with that shit nigga in the casino. He was popped. He was panicking. Nigga, he was asking random people for cash apps. He was broke. I don't know what happened. Nobody was answering his phone call. He popped, trying to run up, chasing. Must got a gambling addiction. And the nigga says, yo, he just popped. He calling niggas for cash apps in front of me. I ain't gonna lie to you. The first 5 I offered, I'm like, yo, you pop. You waiting for some bread? He like, I'm waiting for my money. I swung that nigga 5. You know how I get. He gets popped. Not us two dicing each other. He gets popped straight to the casino. Goes nap. He get another loan from somebody else for like 2 bands. I don't even take my loan. I'm like, that's Offset. I'm good on my money. I'm worried about this nigga. I got mad bread. I definitely run off a nigga on 5 bands. He pops for the next.
If that sequence is accurate, it could explain why investigators are looking closely at how everything unfolded from the very beginning. And it doesn't stop there. Another claim being discussed is that Lil Tjay may have been recording parts of the incident on his phone. That alone adds another layer to the situation. Because if footage like that exists, it could potentially show exactly what happened in real time. But again, nothing has been publicly confirmed in full detail. Now here's where things start to clash. Because earlier statements suggested that Offset didn't initiate anything, that he didn't approach aggressively or create a threat. And if that version lines up with what's being said now, people are naturally asking, what caused everything to escalate the way it did? That's the key question. If one side is saying there was no direct provocation, but investigators are looking at actions that may have led up to the confrontation, then the timeline becomes extremely important. Every movement, every interaction, every second starts to matter. And when you combine all of that, the reported footage, the group movement, the statements, it starts to form a complicated picture. Not a confirmed story, but a layered one. One where different versions are being compared side by side. There's also a bigger takeaway people keep mentioning. Situations like this show how important it is to move carefully when things are still unfolding. Because once statements are out there, they don't just disappear. They get analyzed, compared, and sometimes used to build a larger narrative. That's why legal voices always stress letting attorneys handle communication during active situations. Not because there's something to hide, but because timing and wording matter more than people think. Especially when multiple parties and investigations are involved.
Offset and Lil Tjay were supposedly both shot. It's been reported that it's a leg shot when it comes to Offset. Just to be clear, I heard TJ was with some niggas. They scatter like roaches. It's like roaches out of the cereal box when the light come on. You feel what I'm saying? They all dip. And some people, they get detained by the police, but the idea is niggas is out, right? Supposedly Offset, like almost a year ago, borrowed some money from Lil Tjay in the casino. It was $10,000. And I guess Lil Tjay expected to be paid back. After he wasn't paid back, he took it online. And, you know, from there, that's where you could tell these guys didn't get along. They have, you know, kind of gone back and forth, and potentially they've seen each other for the first time since all of that. But I did ask him about this situation with Offset, and Offset not giving him the money back. And I will tell you, in a very eerie way, I asked him, I said, yo, so what happened when you tried to get your money back from Offset? He bluntly told me, he said Offset told him. He said Offset DM'd him and said, nigga, get it back in blood.
Right now, everything is still developing. Nothing has been fully settled, and no final conclusions have been reached. But what's clear is that the situation has moved far beyond a simple incident. It's now a detailed investigation with multiple angles being examined. And with that kind of attention, every new update is going to carry serious weight. People are watching closely because the next piece of information could shift how everything is understood all over again. And just like that, this situation didn't just stay contained, it started reaching into other circles and pulling more names into the spotlight. Now, people are also bringing up Jay Prince Jr. and NBA YoungBoy, saying this whole situation is creating pressure across different sides. It's not even about direct involvement anymore. It's about how everything connects and how fast narratives spread when something like this hits the public. Because think about it. When something this big starts moving, it doesn't just affect one person. It starts shifting energy around entire groups, teams, and affiliations. People begin picking sides, assumptions start flying, and suddenly, names that weren't even at the center of the situation are getting pulled into conversations. That's exactly what's happening here. And the craziest part? This is all still developing. Nothing is fully locked in. Nothing has been completely confirmed across the board. But the momentum? It's building fast. Every new detail, every update, every report, it just keeps stacking. And when things move like this, it's hard to predict where it's gonna land next. At this point, it's not just about what happened outside that casino anymore. It's about the ripple effect, the reactions, the statements, the speculation, and how all of it is shaping the bigger story. You got fans watching closely, commentators breaking things down, and more pieces slowly coming together. It's one of those situations where every small update could flip the narrative again. And let's be real for a second. This is exactly why staying tuned matters, because situations like this don't just end overnight. They evolve. New angles come out, new perspectives drop, and sometimes the story looks completely different a few days later. So if you're trying to keep up with everything, you already know you got to stay locked in. Now, if you made it this far, I need you to tap in real quick. Hit that like button, share this video with someone who's been following this situation, and subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. It really helps push the content out and keeps everything moving. And don't just stop here. There's another video popping up on your screen right now. Go check that out if you want more breakdowns and more celebrity drama just like this. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. I'll catch you in the next one.